Hey people, thanks for tuning in today. I've got something important to tell you about. Desire, yearning, longing, wanting, needing. The fire in our bellies, the fire of the gods, our drive to satiety, gratification, satisfaction, addiction. But in reality, our drive toward enlightenment. Lot to tackle? Well, get a drink of something if you need it, get comfortable, and let's jump in. In episode 17, exercise 6, how to use what you yearn for in life to transform a problem, I showed you how to use your deepest yearnings and desires as the guide to transforming a problem. I use the word yearning to mean a kind of deep, visceral need that hides just at the fringes of your consciousness. It's fairly easy to access. You just have to stop the world for a moment, close your eyes, and ask yourself what you really long for, beyond all the superficial stuff you want in your outer life. What core inner experience of life do you yearn for? Have you already known this but gave up pursuing it at some point? Or have you never actually identified and acknowledged it? The phrase living in quiet desperation epitomizes this problem. It's a resignation to not fulfilling one's deepest desires in life. It's really interesting how there are such contrasting views on the issue of desire. On the one hand, motivational gurus show you how to actualize whatever you desire. It's like boot camp for the American dream. Want a nice car and a big house? You can get it. Want an awesome relationship? You can do that too. Want to look like a model? No problem. On the other hand, most religions and spiritual traditions take a dim view of desire. Especially the rock and roll form of really going for it, like hedonistic worship, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Whether it's Jesus, Buddha, Moses, Shiva, Shakti, or just the idea of seeking truth and wisdom, focusing on your desires isn't usually a big part of it. In fact, most spiritual practices use methods that intentionally deny desire in order to stimulate higher consciousness. I mean, fasting, hours of meditation or prayer and all that isn't exactly what you'd call fun. It's awesome, but not in a let's party our asses off tonight way. Although there are exceptions, like some forms of yoga that incorporate ecstatic dance and music. But for the most part, desire is seen as a lower form of consciousness, and the goal is to transcend it. I don't think this is correct. It's based on a pre-psychology understanding of the human condition and doesn't differentiate our yearnings into conscious and unconscious desires. It just lumps them all together into one undifferentiated mush and says they're universally bad. What psychology has taught us is that desire is simply a drive to experience something, and that this can be either conscious or unconscious. A conscious desire is the urge to express your true ideas, feelings, creativity, compassion, power, joy, and so on. An unconscious desire is an urge, for example, that makes you feel hungry all the time and overeat, or a need for more no matter how much you engage in something you like you never feel satisfied. This happens when you aren't conscious of what you actually yearn for. Unconscious desires often express themselves in physical urges we have little control over. But if you learn how to process them, they can reveal their true purpose for your consciousness. For example, I've had lots of clients with addictions where healing involved connecting with the real states of mind they were driven to. In some folks, the urge to get totally fucked up was actually a drive for a spiritual experience. Other folks were actually yearning to feel loved or experience peace, and so on. So, conscious desires lead to expansive growth, whereas unconscious ones can lead to pain, addiction, depression, destructive behavior, etc. The idea in a lot of spirituality is that what you yearn for imprisons you and that you should work to free yourself from it. There's some truth to this in terms of the fact that the more you grow, the more equanimous you get and the less you feel in the grip of overwhelming desires, needs, and disappointments. But it's also a false understanding of desire. In fact, it's an internally self-refuting concept, because if you didn't desire anything, then why bother focusing on self-improvement at all? Why not just sit there and do nothing? Why help other people? Why do anything? Why live? What you yearn for is, in fact, meaningful, purposeful, and contains all the information you need to understand yourself, what to focus on, and what direction you need to move in. What you desire contains your roadmap. This doesn't mean you should just act on every desire. It means that you should acknowledge your desires and differentiate them into conscious and unconscious ones. If your desires aren't consciously processed, you'll suffer from a lot of problems. Or at least you'll live with an essential unsaid yearning in the background, something fundamental, a core need that never really gets addressed. The exercise shows you how to identify this and process it. Desire is the fuel of your process. It's up to you how you relate to it. It doesn't matter what the desire is. You can always process it to consciousness and integrate it into your life.